U.S. intelligence agency, mind control.
Remember being safe
really
under,
truly the issue,
Trump.
right?
I
It
think
can't possibly be the news highlighting
it
it
was
or
his
every
signature
day,
issue when he
all
ran
day.
for office in 2016.
Never,
and
not
then
even
2020
once.
came
Okay, let's move on.
along,
Got a
and
lot-
Joe Biden did every single thing that he
this
put
is
into
still catching up from last week.
The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 100 people were killed Thursday in a violent incident around an aid convoy in northern Gaza.
Obviously, we're not going to watch all the
says
videos
some
on
people
this.
were killed in a stampede after the scene turned chaotic, but the IDF also acknowledges opening fire on
This is
individuals
obviously an
it
old story
claims
that's from
posed
last
a
week as
threat.
well.
Yeah.
Hamas is accusing Israel of intentionally
Well,
targeting
on the
civilians.
weekend, didn't it?
At the White House, President Biden was asked
No.
about the incident.
It happened we didn't cover it Friday. We're doing some stuff.
I don't have an answer yet.
Are you worried that I will complicate these negotiations?
I know it will.
John Alterman joins me now. He's a senior vice president at the Center for Strategic and International
I love when you
Studies.
get
John,
straight answers
back.
from Biden, right? Because like everyone else, like I hate it. The government speak where they're like, you know, oh, we're blah blah blah, we don't update you on to circle back on it. But Biden, you can just get him and he'll just say shit. It's great. It's like Trump would do this too, but it was like not great to hear him say stuff most of the time.
Yeah.
Take a step back for a second. Can you give us a sense of the scope of the humanitarian situation in Gaza and what it looks like right now?
It is miserable. Most Gazans, virtually all Gazans, are hungry. 2.3 million people in the Gaza Strip. Not only has food been restricted, medicine, water, hospitals have been shut down. The humanitarian organizations that have been providing aid have been talking for months about how the region
you can move on
is
from this.
on the brink of...
A lot of angles on this one, so.
Yeah. Vouch.
Yeah, there's another Vosh one that's from today as well.
In spite of the prolonged efforts to prevent
so you can just
them
kind of see,
from entering in,
start this one, go like 5 minutes in, go to the
and
next
unofficial
one from
sources,
Vosh as well. So he's probably just going to be reading the story here.
Looks like he's watching the video, but not putting it on screen.
You can kind of guess what I'm looking at from the noise, I imagine.
There you go.
The second link that I was sent is fake news. In the German news, the IDF contradicted itself by claiming that they were nowhere near the trucks, but admitted later in the same press release that they shot a few Palestinians nearby for getting too close.
They said it was for stealing, I heard.
Yeah, it looks like the first audio that we listened to from Al Jazeera. I mean, this was...
There's horrors in accordance with my principle. That's my job. I do these videos, try and sketch out before what to say, but it becomes...
Owen Jones wouldn't mind, given that it's recent news.
Owen Jones. This guy is a fuckwit with a capital F.
Okay, let's go to the other Vosh one where it says the flower massacre is worse than we thought. We don't need him breaking a story
doctor and
to us from 4 days
shit.
ago.
Like, oh, no shots were fired, to, oh, only shots in the air, to only people who directly attacked the IDF, to, and then there was that video of a bunch of gunfire when a crowd of people was like storming past. It was 750, more than 750 others injured, in addition to the 115 killed. Dr. Mohammed Salha, the acting director of the Al-Qeada hospital.
So not only did they lie about engaging the convoy to begin with, they then said that the people died from getting run over.
Yeah. Typical. That's what you'd expect.
No,
I mean, it's what you'd expect from the
No, I'm not, I was just saying no to my context, not to you.
Right.
Run over? No, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
The facility, 142 had gunshot wounds, and the other 34 showed injuries from a stampede. He couldn't address the cause of death of those killed because the bodies were taken to government-run...
No, it's not wrong at all. Treat Israel like Russia and China and Iran. Nothing out of their official numbers is true.
Even look at Ukraine and how the casualty numbers differ. So the thing with, like, for example, a good example is Iraq, right? So like today is like, we know more about the casualty rate in Iraq today than we did when it was happening, right? And there's several reasons for that, just because accounting takes so much time. But Gaza, it's always ends up being so bad it's by percentages, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Hospitals to be counted. Uh-huh. Government, you mean the Ministry of Gaza? Wait, by government run, what do they mean like?
Yes.
Isn't the al-qeada hospital under the purview of the health ministry of Gaza? Why would that not be? Do they mean Israeli government? Does the Israeli government do these counts? Because the death count has been provided in the past. It's a link. What does the link say? The link just links to how the death toll is counted from Gaza's Ministry of Health. But this says that it's counted by the Gaza Ministry of Health. No Fed posting. Like, because the Gaza Ministry of Health would include the al-qeada hospital, right? So then why Dr. Hussam Abu Safia, director of Kamal Adwan Hospital, said the majority of the injured taken there had...
Is he stun locked? Let's skip forward. He's still on the same passage 3 minutes in. Jesus fucking Christ.
And it sounds really like... It sounds really grim and like, I don't know, LARPy, but like that is history book material shit right there. You know, there are lots of massacres that happen, but one that picks a name that quickly and is this one-sided and this bleak.
Is that the...
It's, yeah, like stuff like that.
Huh?
Is that the official name of it now?
What?
The Flower Massacre.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It came because like it came right away because one of the pictures that was one of the first pictures was like a case of like flour, and it was like cracked in with blood all over it.
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay.
So it became one of the iconic images of the massacre.
Yeah.
Moves mountains when it comes to shifting public opinion. In terms of just like talking to people about stuff, there's a huge difference between saying, hey, did you hear about that time the IDF fired on Palestinians who were seeking aid? And saying, have you heard of
I haven't looked at the death counts, but there's probably more, but I think 30,000 is a fine one for right now. But I haven't looked at them that much, but I remember we also like our department, right? So like the United States numbers, one of the things they actually do is count bodies in videos. I've done that as well, right? So like just judging by videos, I'll use those to like have an estimate of like how many dead bodies did I see in this video, like the rocket strike on the hospital. Right, so like I counted the density and looked at the density to like do estimates on like the death toll, but I always go like low. So there's lots of ways to do it, but they should be counting them by hand. If it can't be that chaotic, you know what I'm saying?
Our massacre, like there's a massive difference in terms of the like perceived legitimacy. On Friday, a UN team visited some of the wounded in Gaza City's Al-Shifa hospital and saw a large number of gunshot wounds. The hospital received 70 of the dead and about 200 wounded. Okay, so they were split up among Gaza hospitals. Okay, just thought it was weird the way they phrased it in the AP article. He was not aware of the team examining those killed, but said that from what they saw in terms of the patients who were alive getting treatment, there was a large number of gunshot wounds. The head of a Gaza City hospital that treated some of the Palestinians wounded in the bloodshed said on Friday that more than 80% of the injured had been struck by gunfire. Jesus Christ.
Fucking Christ.
Al Jazeera is also using this language. The bodies were taken to government-run hospitals to be counted. This language is very similar to the AP article. I wonder who is cribbing off of who, or if there's
AP comes first. They're all going off
AP's always first. Yeah, it's a news wire.
Shared source. They're both pulling from. Do you think the IDF will be targeting those UN journalists? I think they'll be indifferent with regards to the death of UN personnel, which is something that has already happened. Like there are lots of non-Palestinian journalists that have been killed. I mean, and they literally like sniped, US journalists before. Yep. Like, yeah, they can do whatever. They don't give a shit. The Israeli version of events changed over the course of the day. Reporting from occupied East Jerusalem, Al Jazeera's Bernard Smith said the Israeli military, quote, initially tried to pin the blame on the crowd, saying that dozens were hurt as a consequence of being crushed and trampled in a stampede when aid trucks arrived. That's all you need to know. immediately, that's all you need to know, that Israel is completely full of shit. I mean, like you needed any more evidence, but still, like in terms of proving lies, that's it. You can hear gunfire. We've seen the videos of gunfire. We know there was gunfire. This is like,
I want
the
to see
standard
Junk
for
yell about
lying
this.
is so low. Like, as if like anyone could have told them.
And then there's clips of CNN reacting to the Israeli guy who's the genocide monster.
There's a lot of pushback going on in CNN right now.
And then finish with this one, and then don't even click on the ABC.
You can see in this video by the Israeli from the Israeli
I just want to
military.
hear Junk. Let's see what Junk's opinion is. Don't care about her. I want Junk. There he is, my man.
Swarming the humanitarian aid convoy the trucks, they get fired at by the IDF.
So
who are the animals?
Listen, guys.
Who are the animals, Cenk? Who are the animals? Because I'm getting real sick of people on social media referring to Palestinian civilians as animals. Because every story that we've covered, everything that we've investigated and looked into,
I love the movie.
does not really show Palestinians behaving as animals. It shows the IDF behaving as animals. People who feel real good about themselves, shooting their weapons at desperate people as they swarm a humanitarian aid truck. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Latest numbers are 112 dead, 760.
No one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
576,000 Palestinians are now starving.
What do you think, the lizard people
and
are in charge?
this is what starving looks like.
That's another animal. We got two animals.
It's confirmed by international news.
And you got a lot of them. I
like
love
CNN,
dogs. You love dogs.
That the Israelis fired from the tanks and from drones. And they said they were worried about their troops.
Pop. And then it was
Where were the troops? Inside the tanks? They weren't in the drones.
That's not funny.
So the guys that were inside tanks were slightly concerned, I guess, about their.
Like
this is the best
because we laughed. Come on, Jack. Why would you click that?
Why are you gay?
Case scenario for Israel that I'm laying out about their safety within the tank. So they murdered 112 people at least. And when you started firing into the crowd, what did you think was going to happen? Other than the slaughter from your bullets, that hungry, desperate crowd, of course, was going to panic when you started spraying the place.
Actively engaging civilians.
Civilians were killed, and that's what we're going to continue to try to do.
Probably one of the worst things that Israel has done.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
With bullets, and the trucks were going to panic, and you knew that that would also create a stampede. And the drones, how about the drones? Were the drones afraid that they were going to, that their hardware or plastic was going to get attacked? So somehow they were going to jump up and grab a drone.
The one who like posts a drone video, like why did they like to be like, this is what happened? You can see that they.
Inside of it, and why would that be a concern? Why are you murdering people with drones when you actually see them and you see that they are not at all fighters and they are people desperate for food, and Israel murders them? So if that breaks your heart, good, you still have one. You still have one, good. If you say it breaks your heart to hear me say it, as opposed to the fact that Israel is actually doing it and actually murdering those people.
That's it, Buster.
Then
no
there's
more
something wrong
military
with you.
aid.
You think, I don't care about those people, I don't view Palestine. You have to admit it. If you don't think that it's that big a deal and that Israel is right, especially in this instance.
Poggers!
If you think Israel's right and you trust your beloved terrorist IDF, and you look at them murdering those people in cold blood as they're starving them, as they're keeping them in a ghetto and a camp, and you look at that and go, no, the problem is people reporting that fact. It's not the fact, the problem is not us doing it.
Meanwhile, nobody is actually doing that, right?
No.
Like he's acting like we're the only ones who are going to give you the truth about what's going on in Israel and that this was a massacre.
Yeah, what actually happened? Who shot first? Well, obviously the IDF shot them, but like
nobody shot back at the IDF.
Yeah, obviously that was the wrong terminology. But
who was the one who fired?
Yeah, like what was the instigation? What was the lead up to it? Do we know?
Oh no, it just said that Israel shot first. That was like in the Vosh update.
Beloved democracy ally Israel. Is this what a democracy looks like? Is this what an ally looks like? Is this what decency and morality looks like?
Now we're getting stupid. Now we're getting stupid. Okay, let's be clear. Okay, democracies have committed genocides. Okay, let's not be silly about this.
The chair will advise that the rules do care.
Secondly, is this what allies look like? We're allies with Turkey. We're allies with Saudi Arabia. We're allies with Egypt. You know, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Of course, this is what our allies look like.
Is now one of the sickest governments in the whole.
Think about how fucked America would be if it's like if it acted like China and said, "You have to respect our values, or there's no business with us, Buster."
Yeah.
You need to fly that rainbow flag from your capital.
Whole world. In my whole lifetime, I've never seen slaughter like this on live television. Yeah, I know this Bashar al-Assad, Kim Jong-un, Saddam Hussein, etc. have done terrible things, terrible
Kim
things.
Jong-un, Saddam
But these are
Hussein.
being televised, brothers and sisters. So you could say, hey, well, that doesn't...
And defended by our government. That's
okay. Saddam Hussein's atrocities were televised. He televised them.
He did.
Important thing to remember.
Okay.
Because I don't remember the US government defending the chemical weapons attacks that Bashar al-Assad was doing.
In fact, we bombed Bashar al-Assad. We bombed Saddam Hussein. We threatened to bomb Kim Jong-un. We applaud Israel and give them money.
And weapons.
We also give the Taliban money. Did you see I tagged you in a post on X and it's the Taliban at Thales?
Oh, is that what it
was? Yeah.
That's hilarious.
They were looking at Thales systems.
That's so funny. Here's a fun story for you. Thales owns Lithgow. Lithgow is the Australian manufacturer of the service rifle for our armed forces. The Thales, more specifically Lithgow, was wanting to sell a civilian version to the US. Thales' response was, it's too dangerous to sell to the US market. Here they are bargaining with the Taliban.
Well,
fuck these guys.
So we don't necessarily know the context of this because it's the Taliban is the source. This literally is the Taliban. This right here, like the Taliban PR guy, not real. This is though. Okay, this is like the Taliban official. So the Minister of Defense for the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, which the United States does not recognize and is known as the Taliban. This is Omar San, I think, right here, Chief of Staff, blah, 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 participated in the defense exhibit in Qatar, where military equipment and various weapons were displayed. So it doesn't necessarily show that they're buying anything, right? But like it's like these are like missile defense systems. And this oh, I was about to say, is this IRGC? No, this is just what their military looks like. They have the same like flat cap. Look at these guys. This guy's got like a beret. That's interesting.
Almost looks Jordanian.
These guys that they're talking to on either side. Not trying to profile, but they are Asian, it appears. So this might is this even a US company? I'm not sure. But it does look like US stuff. Drones here. I don't even know what that is back there. What company that is. Boeing here.
Boeing, yeah.
See, who's these guys? Who are they looking at here? What nation are these guys with?
It's hard to tell just from the white uniform.
Yeah, because this guy, you can see this as a medal on him as well.
It's not a crown.
There's a guy back here.
It's not a Commonwealth nation.
You know, there's guys back here. This guy's taking a picture showing that the Taliban are here. This is literally like, this is a high level Taliban guy.
Yeah.
And then here's them with Thales. Oh, these these. So it's a Chinese guys that they're talking to. Thales is in the background. So these are this is the CIS. These are the two. I was right. It is a Chinese company. So this is their area. So they're talking to a Chinese company here.
Makes sense. The guy with the red beret looks like he's Jordanian, maybe.
Yeah, he might be some type of other. He might, like a domestic thing. That's like because they're Taliban after all. He kind of tail them. Guy looks like a journalist back here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Benny jump scare.
Look at that bright ass blue camo. I think one of the reasons is like it's registered as like a UN camo, but I'm not positive because like as long as you do UN blue, you can basically do anything you want. There's like all it is. It's not even a specific blue as well.
That's
so
funny.
Basically, you can do whatever you want with your UN uniform.
Interesting.
So I don't know. That's
the more
you would buy blue camo.
Importance the issue, the less it gets discussed here in the Congress and in the media. More important, less discussion. And today I want to say a few words about one of those issues, and that is the ongoing UN food aid convoy, even though it had previously cleared its route and timing with the Israelis.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
before the homelessness and before the starvation at all. So it's not only that aid is not getting in, what aid is getting in is not going to those locations where it is needed the most.
You guys can listen. I'll be back.
President, even more distressing, aid convoys have been turned back or fired upon even after previously clearing their route with the Israeli military. In other words, the aid people tell
He's always looked
the
like
Israeli
this.
military where they are going, and the result of that is they in fact get bombed. Bottom line, despite the urgency of this crisis and the growing starvation of the people of Gaza, humanitarian access has actually gotten worse in recent weeks. About 80 trucks per day have gotten into Gaza over the last 3 weeks, down by roughly 40% from earlier periods. Before the war, before the homelessness.
I really, as much as it's nice to hear people talking about this, they didn't say shit when this happened to Tigray, and even less trucks were getting through, and more civilians
Almost
were dying.
all aid deliveries to northern Gaza have been suspended. The Israeli government has rejected most requests for access to the north, and the situation has become too dangerous for aid to be safely delivered. And the reason that aid delivery has become increasingly dangerous is that the Israeli military has shown little regard for the safety of humanitarian operations. Quite the contrary, earlier this month, the Israeli military fired on a UN food aid convoy, even though it had previously cleared its route and timing with the Israelis. And here is something that I hope every American hears.
They'd give nothing if they could.
Up
That's what
until
happened
now,
in
since this war
Ethiopia.
began, 161 UN staff
Nobody
and
looks at Africa.
340 health workers have been killed in Israeli attacks since October 7th. In other
Didn't
words,
they
the
release
people
new audio relating to?
trying to help
I
the
have not
desperate,
seen.
People are trying to deliver aid. People are trying to provide health care. They are being killed.
I think
in large numbers.
Israel,
The
it would make sense
situation
for Israel
today
to do a
is
fake
obviously
for that,
desperate
because the EU
and
basically
getting
said,
more
"Fuck it,
and
we're
more
if
desperate.
Israel isn't going to work with us,
And
we're
as
funding
an
them,
indication
and
of that
we're pushing
desperation,
aid convoys." Right. So both
humanitarian
America
aid
and
trucks
the EU
that do
made these
get
policies
through
in
to northern
response to
Gaza
Israel shooting
have
this
been
convoy.
mobbed by starving people.
It
That is
wouldn't
the reality.
surprise
When
me
a
for
truck
Israel to
manages
make
to
new
get through,
fake evidence about
aid
them.
is not
or release
distributed in an
evidence that they
orderly way.
already had. Either
Hungry
way, I
people
don't think
are
it
mobbing
matters.
the trucks to grab food to feed their kids. The UN's leading expert on access to food this week said Israel is intentionally denying access to food. Mr. President, that is a war crime. Unbelievably, in the midst of this humanitarian cataclysm, rather than work to improve coordination with the UN and get basic supplies to Palestinians in the war zone, there has been a concerted
this is old,
attack
by the way. This
on
is 6
UNRWA,
days ago, so this is
the
even
largest
before
UN
the
agency
convoy was
operating
shot
in
up.
Gaza and the backbone of the humanitarian aid operation. They're the ones who do the lion's share of the work in getting humanitarian aid to the civilian population. UNRWA runs schools, healthcare, water sanitation, and food assistance for Palestinians in Gaza, as well as the West Bank and the wider region. Israel has accused 12 UNRWA employees of taking part in the October 7th attack. 12 employees. This is a serious allegation, and it is being investigated seriously. But, Mr. President, you don't starve 2 million people because of the alleged actions of 12 UNRWA employees out of a total workforce of 30,000. Despite UNRWA's indispensable role in addressing this unprecedented humanitarian disaster,
Can you
Congress
go
is now
back to the
considering
CNN thing we didn't look at? I wanted to see her yell at the genocide monster. Nope, not this. Before this. There you go. Her. Let's see. I want to see this clip. Because
there's a lot of pushback
she
going on
rules, and
CNN
this
right
guy
now.
is a fucking monster.
Did you delete videos that we've watched?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Intercept broke this, which means that CNN employees and are speaking, I think, to the Intercept and just said that that we are pushing back at the London bureau about the pro-Israel bias in
London
bio. There we go. This guy. You know this guy? You remember him?
Yeah, I fucking hate this guy.
And she catches him in it. It's satisfying.
Back to the program, Mark Regev. As I said, there are disputed timelines. Either the shooting was first and then the stampede, or the stampede was first and then the shooting. But the facts are the facts. There are dead and injured. I think the first question, if you could answer, is who were these aid? Who was this aid being driven in by or for? The UN and the normal, known aid agencies said that they had nothing to do with it. Do you know who it was?
I know the following, that in order to help alleviate the food shortage in Gaza, that we authorized in our convoy of, I think, some 30 trucks entered Gaza last night, headed for the northern Gaza Strip. And this shows that Israel is interested in seeing aid and foodstuffs reach the civilian population. Unfortunately, we saw a situation where there was a mass casualty tragedy, where it looked like the civilians were storming the trucks, trying to take the food out of desperation. And
it looked like you were
people,
shooting them,
yeah, that's what it looked like.
Crowd was pushing and shoving, and people were killed. I can't tell you the exact numbers. I don't, as you know, don't trust the numbers put out by the Hamas-controlled Ministry of Health in Gaza. There were reports that maybe their drivers were driving over parts of the crowd. It appears to be a tragedy, but I can tell you Israel was not involved directly in any way.
When you say not involved directly in any way, what do you mean? I mean, you enabled this convoy, as you said, and your forces are there on the ground and open fire. They said it themselves. What does that mean, not involved in any way?
So this was, we allowed the aid to come in. We were involved that way. That's our policy, to allow food to go into Gaza for the civilian population. But in the incident of people storming the trucks...
All right, pause it for 1 second. I just want to be clear. That has not been the policy up until a couple of days ago.
Footage that doesn't show the gunfire.
All right, continue.
Convoy, as you said, and your forces are there on the ground and open fire. They said it themselves. What does that mean, not involved in any way?
So this was, we allowed the aid to come in. We were involved that way. That's our policy, to allow food to go into Gaza for the civilian population. But in the incident of people storming the trucks and the way the truck drivers behaved and people getting squashed and pressed and apparently there being mass casualties, Israel was not there on the ground.
What?
I just found something here. So this is are these PSL members? So this is Scooter's Caster's licensing down here. So
you refuse to call it a genocide.
I need you to understand.
It's not
see Dune, guys. Come on.
okay that there's a genocide happening. You're not actively against it.
You're lying.
I'm lying.
You're not.
You went on TV and avoided talking about it.
You was not acting. You can't say it's a genocide or what you're just acting for political race.
She's it looks like she's on a date too.
We're not lying.
We're not lying.
You've been
We're not
saying it in
lying.
interviews. It's insane. You haven't been calling it a genocide. Don't tell me I'm lying. Then just say it's a genocide. Just say it.
Just say it's a genocide.
You can't just say it for once. Just say the word. That's it. That's all we want you to say.
She's literally like said everything. Like she's basically been like describing everything that's genocidal, but won't say the word genocide because she's trying to stay in office. Why do we want to? Oh, it's PSL. Here they are to harass the only socialist in government.
Okay, but they did open fire and people were killed. So I'm completely confused by what you're saying because they admitted, the IDF spokesman said it on our air that they opened fire.
That's a separate incident.
Okay,
not connected to the tragedy of the trucks. That was different place, different time. In the general location, but not the same incident.
Someone's just about to get fired. Someone's going to get fired. Whoever it was, that spokesperson came on. Someone's about to get fired. Go ahead.
Remember how I say that if you do inside job and conspiracies, it's like impossible to hold them together.
Yeah.
The way people think they would have to be held together. Look at how Israel immediately everything falls apart whenever they try to do conspiracy shit. Oh my god, bro.
Yeah. It's almost
Chinchilla
like
just like wanted to bounce off all four walls for like 10 seconds straight there.
It's almost like a conspiracy only works when it's like 2 or 3 people. Crazy.
Or like, al-Qaeda.
He admitted, the IDF spokesman said it on our air that they opened fire.
That's a separate incident.
Okay,
not connected to the tragedy with the trucks. That was different place, different time.
Right. He just himmed him the way we do to people on videos in person. What a bad bitch. Love this.
I mean, she interviewed Ghani, like she's
True.
like she's like probably CNN's best. Everyone was like Anderson Cooper. Fuck Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, he's only up there because of his family.
Well, he looks good.
I'm sure.
He's got a good look.
Location, but not the same incident at all. And I have to tell you that we are not aware that the IDF fired caused casualties at all.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that a journalist who CNN works with on the ground has a different view of it. But maybe there were other incidents.
Huh?
I was about to say, we didn't look. We didn't see if we hit them. But I was like, that's a lie. They account for like every bullet.
Obviously, you say is under review, and we will hope.
Oh, what?
So, like, you have to think, of course, she was seeing Dune, right? So, she went to the movies to see Dune. Somebody, because it's, a lot of people are already there. Somebody said, oh, AOC's seeing Dune, right? And then, and then they organized a fucking PSL ambush to be like, why don't you call it a genocide? Oh, are you in the Progressive Caucus and one of the few people who are actually doing something in this government? Why don't you say stuff that will get you voted out of office? We're the PSL.
hope to get further clarification. But here's the thing. So
I assume this is about. He's
Yeah.
got that daddy energy.
And we're done.
No. He's claiming it was a separate incident related to something else in the area at the time.
Psycho.
They were shooting somebody else, not the people at the convoy.
Before I
Yeah,
begin
of course.
Today,
She
I
drunk?
must address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. People in Gaza are starving. The conditions are inhumane. And our common humanity compels us to act. As President Joe Biden said on Friday, the United States is committed to urgently get more life-saving assistance to innocent Palestinians in need.
Using
Yesterday, the
US
Department of Defense carried out its first airdrop of humanitarian assistance.
Wow, that was so much better than
and the
Jordan,
United
how
States
they
will
did it,
continue
right?
These airdrops.
With their
I
TikTok.
will repeat. The threat of Hamas poses to the people of Israel.
I think this might probably be the best coverage of what she says here. But we'll play it again just because we're talking over it. So, but like I think this is really good editing, cutting in and having they even had a little bit of Nat sound in those cuts in some of them. I mean,
where it was on vehicles.
Really think like the massacre that just happened, like gunning people down who are just trying to get aid. Like that is something that's so bad that like you have to think about it. There's like people have pressure, but then there's an event that happens where every then steps up a little bit. So it's like an extra percentage has been added on. It's not like it's overwhelming or anything, but there's just more pressure from people who are that we'll cover that here today as well. We'll look at him and because she actually is meeting with the opposition leader, so that's also it's in this coverage coming up right now.
This is like a Tiananmen moment though.
Yeah literally.
Yeah.
The immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire. For at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently
someone
on
is
the table.
really happy in that crowd.
This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in. This would allow us to build something more enduring, to ensure Israel is secure,
exactly,
and to respect
she also
the rights
like
of the Palestinian.
the language she's specifically been using here as well. I mean, we'll play it again. We'll just look at someone else's coverage.
People to dignity,
Which
freedom,
hostage thing?
and self-determination.
Tonight, the war in Gaza rages on despite a new and urgent U.S. push for a ceasefire.
We're in a window of time right now where we can actually get a hostage deal done.
Vice President Harris today meeting a senior member of Israel's war cabinet at the White House. The meeting one day after she delivered some of the administration's most forceful criticism of Israel yet.
The Israeli government must do more to significantly increase the flow of aid. No excuses.
The U.S. hoping to secure a deal before the start of Ramadan this weekend. A proposed 6-week ceasefire would see the release of 40 hostages in exchange for around 400 Palestinian prisoners. An Israeli official tells NBC News one major obstacle to talks in Cairo is Hamas's refusal to say which hostages are still alive. Over the weekend, the U.S. military dropping 38,000 ready meals into Gaza by parachute and promising to do more. But the Abu Anza family, who tell us their home was destroyed by an Israeli strike, say what they need is not aid from the sky, but U.S. pressure to halt the bombing.
True.
19 people were killed, the family says, including Ranya's husband and her twins.
Should be clear, the
Hassan and
amount of
Naeem.
aid they dropped
They were
is
born
like
October.
barely anything.
Yeah,
Like,
I figured.
nothing. It's like like single digit percentages, I think.
Yeah. Minimal, but like, there's more countries that could be doing more as well.
13th, 1 week into the war, a blessing after years of IVF treatment and never knowing a day of peace in their short lives. Who will call me mama now, she asks. Who will call me mama now? And a new UN report says evidence indicates Hamas fighters committed rape at least 3 locations during the October 7th attack, and says there is clear and convincing information that some hostages in Gaza have been subjected to sexual violence while in captivity.
Hang on. That's not what the UN said.
Uh-huh.
The UN said likely.
Yes. It's different.
I want to hang on. Can we go back? There's Hamas said something about other countries stepping up. It's still in there. Yeah, I wanted to hear that. Don't glorify terrorism.
Scheduled programming to take you to Beirut, where the Hamas spokesman Osama
News.
Hamdan
This is
speaking
news,
on the
YouTube.
ceasefire
News.
deal.
News.
Let's
News.
listen to
News.
what he has to
This
say.
is news.
Deceived of the peace
News.
and those who are
News.
deceived
This is news.
of the U.S.
Don't
rule
do it
as a
again.
mediator to achieve peace.
I'll say
in
this
the
again.
Middle
It
East.
is
You need
news.
to consider all of this, and Ramadan must be a holy month to support the Gazans, to support the resistance. The resistance is still the option of the Palestinian people and of the nation. Finally, I ask Allah Almighty to help this union and to help this conference and to unify the imams of our nation to achieve the reconnaissance of our nation. Our nation must be together, working together as they are asked by Allah Almighty. A big salute to the great people of Gaza.
Okay,
and
hang
may
on.
Allah
So,
Almighty
hang on. This might just be a mistranslation, but if he's using the singular nation over our nations need to work together, then that's the whole like
Islam thing.
Not Islam, but the whole like expansionist type thing. That's like the hardcore stuff, you know, where so it's one thing to say like, I mean, you'll hear it all the time is like Christians will do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where they'll like say like all the Christians of the world together, right?
Yeah.
So he's not appealing to neighboring nations like it says.
Mm.
He's appealing to all Muslims everywhere.
Yeah.
Unless unless they're mistranslating and he is saying nation.
Mm.
reward the people of Gaza forgiveness and mercy, and those resistance.
The voiceover guy is very dramatic.
Lions on the ground, they have done a lot of things, and they have proved how strong and resilient they are to the powers, to the Palestinian powers and faction. Let's say
It's funny, like he was saying a whole bunch of stuff, and he's just like, "Fuck it." They've done a lot of things.
Continue this in Ramadan, and we will follow the steps of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and we will do our best. We will take a lot of principles from the month of Ramadan on how to support the right and to how to seek justice, and Allah Almighty is great, and most of the people don't know that. It is jihad, victory among them, and peace be upon you all.
Whoa. Threw in the jihad at the end, huh?
Osama Hamdan there.
I guess
the
that clears that
spokesperson
up.
for Hamas. speaking in Beirut, we have been hearing and seeing periodic statements from Hamas in the lead up to any potential.
Okay, let's get away from this
ceasefire,
before
which is under
YouTube says
negotiation
you can't
after a
report on
Paris,
news anymore.
meeting.
Because of
We're in a window of time right
Oh, here we go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is 2024 Democratic presidential contender, Marianne Williamson. Marianne Williamson, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, as we sit here right now, we are on the eve of Super Tuesday, and I want to talk a little bit about your campaign. Earlier in February, you suspended your campaign. Just last week, you lifted that suspension, and now you're back in the race.
Okay,
Can
so
you talk a little bit about that decision?
So, like, I want to just, I think literally this was 9 hours ago, so I think she saw Kamala Harris call for the ceasefire. She's like, fuck, now I have to do something. Oh my god, what a fucking loser.
On an electoral basis, I had done very poorly in those first 3 primary states. So if you look at politics only as a horse race, then it was time to say, you know, give it up.
But then I came in third behind, like, uncommitted.
Yeah.
Of messages I received from other people, and also just the shifting dynamics in American politics today. And I realized there's something more important here than the horse race. Because the horse race is a kind of artificially created dynamic. It is created by establishment forces in politics and media that think they have the right to basically decide who the candidates will be. And then there's what's happening among the American people. And as I travel the country and I actually have to talk to people,
the election
I'm more
was
and more aware
stolen.
that my campaign, by speaking about an economic,
Okay, I'm done with it. I don't care.
about a ceasefire now,
30 minutes of this.
kind of peace.
Yeah, she's very.
Should she call for the ceasefire? Okay. Okay, let's hear Vosh talk about.
All right, guys, get your head in the game. We got politics to talk about, all right?
Hell yeah.
Let's.
You guys hear about this Hunter Schafer person? She got a lot of prominence because of the Euphoria show, which I haven't seen, but now I think she's mostly popular on account of being extremely hot. Also, apparently, Hideo Kojima is obsessed with her, so that's cool.
Yeah, dude, like, she took the coolest picture with Kojima.
The ones that you
that's
sent
ever
me.
been taken. Yeah.
Euphoria star Hunter Schafer was among a group of 30 people who were taken into custody on Monday during a pro-Palestine protest inside the building where President Joe Biden was filming an appearance for Late Night with Seth Meyers.
Yeah, this was the exact same appearance where Joe Biden, again unprompted, said that he's a Zionist and that Jews would not be safe without Israel. Not a place in the world that would be safe for Jews without Israel.
Yeah, bad appearance.
According to multiple reports. The actress joined the organization Jewish Voice for Peace for a rally inside the lobby of 30 Rockefeller Plaza in New York City.
Hey, y'all ready to see how
Video
hard
taken
this
at the site
picture with
also shows the
Kojima
moment
goes,
police
though?
led members of the.
Go on.
Hang on, I'm zooming in all as far as I can. Like, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah, sure. If you say so.
Everyone will agree with me.
Looks like a picture with people.
Yeah, but it's her shirt that's cool.
The shirt was cool, I will say that.
Protest out of the building. The New York Police Department confirmed to Access Hollywood that a total of 30 individuals were taken into custody. Hunter is seen being escorted by NYPD as well as chanting alongside fellow protesters. Jewish Voice for Peace confirmed Hunter's arrest, saying in a statement to Access Hollywood, Jewish Voice for Peace can confirm that Hunter Schafer attended the Jewish Voice Peace disruption inside the 30 Rock lobby, held while President...
Is Hunter Schafer Actually, wait, is Hunter Schafer Jewish? I don't actually know if she is or not. Not that it matters, I guess, but still.
Biden was in the building for his interview with Seth Meyers on Monday afternoon. Hunter was arrested at the protest along with 50 other people. We commend her commitment to Palestinian freedom and to a future of justice for everyone.
No, I believe she is trans. Oh, sorry, my apologies. She's not Jewish, she's trans. Okay, gotcha.
In a statement to Access Hollywood, a DCPI spokesperson for the NYPD said, on Monday, February 26, 2024, at approximately...
He's so fucking happy with himself. Look at him smiling to himself. He's like, that was great.
1630.
Yeah. Look at him little giggle to himself.
He said, on Monday, February 26, 2024, at approximately 1600, the NYPD said, on Monday, February 26, 2024, at approximately 1630.
Yeah. They got arrested. You know, Hunter Schafer is pretty popular. It's awesome to see her doing these, doing any kind of outreach or protest, especially for something like this.
Yeah.
Part of a group
unlike his son,
of
who's
more than 100
never
demonstrators.
funny, ever.
Not even once.
She's the only one arrested. Get the banana out of your ears. The only one. You just watched the video. It said they all got let out. We just saw a video of multiple people getting arrested. Hush up. Schaefer, who like many protesters also wore a face mask because she's a cuck and a liberal cuck, did not make comments. My hope is by next.
Okay, boring. Next.
We also found that there are reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related sexual violence, including rape and gang rape,
You hear what that
occurred during the
can we
7th
go over
of...
the vocabulary they're using here one more time? Reasonable grounds to believe.
We also found that there are reasonable grounds to believe that...
Technically, all that article from New York Times is presenting, right? Because there is, so like that's, I think this is gonna, like New York Times is gonna say that the article is just saying what the UN is saying. It's presenting reasonable grounds that these things happened.
Conflict-related sexual violence, including rape and gang rape, occurred during the 7th of October attacks in at least 3 locations, namely the Nova Music Festival site and its surroundings, Road 232 and Kibbutz Reim. And in most of these incidents, victims were first subjected to rape,
sense, though.
and then and at least 2 incidents
That's the most uncoordinated
the
hit,
rape
right?
of women's
Yeah,
corpses.
because they didn't know what was happening, so that way you would have the most chaos in your command.
Yes, yeah, you would. They definitely did
Be
not
like
have
Wagner
control.
being unleashed,
Yeah,
on like
they
a random
definitely
town.
didn't have control. It'd be like Sudan. It'd be like.
What point are you making by stressing this? That people running with the ball about New York Times right now is just like they literally, like, the way that, like, I was watching Emma frame this is basically frame it like none of the sexual violence happened. And like she was like specifically like leaning into like that type of narrative, and it's just kind of disturbing to me.
We found clear and convincing information that sexual violence, including rape, sexualized torture, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment, has been committed against captives. And we also have reasonable grounds to believe that such violence may still be ongoing against those still held in captivity.
Yeah, this is, and that's the thing is, like, so like the Intercept hit them with this, and like the UN report was literally coming out the next day. Right. So my question is like, so like a lot of times the UN will show when the report is due, right? So so if this was projected in advance, the Intercept literally gave their own deadline to hit this New York Times article, right? And they had to release it before the UN deadline because they're still going to capitalize on it now anyway. Nobody's going to care what the UN has to say here, right? So they had to get it out by that deadline because then it would be all up in the headlines for a weekend or so. Like literally all the information agent networks as well is the New York Times completely lost its credibility? I put like due dissidents, those idiots in here, like towards the bottom with all this New York Times stuff. And like, it's a terrible story, to be clear.
Israeli forces raided the Palestinian administrative capital of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank overnight, killing a 16-year-old in a refugee camp.
Good work,
That's according
guys.
to Palestinian sources who said on Monday that it was the
Also,
biggest.
I want to just clarify for anyone who doesn't know, when we say refugee camps, when we're talking about Palestine, these aren't like the tent structures that you see, like Rafah, the way it looks right now.
Yeah.
So these were refugee camps long times ago, like after the Nakba, right? So these refugee camps are just really dense, like kind of like concrete walled cities. They're like little mini Gaza blocks in some of these places. So the refugee camps are where the raids happen the most because it's where some of the poorest people are and also where it's the most dense. So that's where you see like the Lion's Den. It operates in it's the other one that's not Jenin, because Jenin is obviously to the Jenin brigades. The other one, the southern one, is where the Lions Den are.
Operation into the city in years.
Oh, look.
The Israeli military.
You see that? Pointing straight at the camera.
Monday that it was the
Watch.
biggest such
This one, yeah.
operation into the city.
Boom. Straight down the barrel.
They love it.
Very cool.
In years. The Israeli military said security forces had conducted a counterterrorism operation into the camp, during which a riot broke out, with rocks and gasoline bombs thrown at soldiers
Nablus
who responded with
Lions
live
Den is.
fire.
Oh, that's
A
blood.
Palestinian news agency reported 16-year-old Mustafa Abu
Oh, that's a
Shalbak
dead
was hit
body.
in the neck and chest. An Israeli border police officer was slightly injured
Da-da-da-da.
during the exchanges. Violence has surged
Nothing
across
to
the
see.
West Bank in parallel to the Gaza war. At least 400 Palestinians have been killed in
Don't we stand the
Israeli
Lions Den?
soldiers
Look,
in
I
February.
cannot say that on YouTube, but I can tell you that they are not a terrorist organization recognized as a terrorist organization by anyone. They are funded by Hamas, but who isn't in Palestine? But they mostly are like they're basically child soldiers, kind of, in a way. A lot of them are basically under 20. So they have a lot of
Israel has
internet culture about them that makes them very interesting.
regularly raided Palestinian areas across the territory it occupied in 1967. The same Palestinian news agency that reported the details of the 16-year-old's death also said Israeli forces killed a 10-year-old boy in a separate West Bank raid. The Israeli military did.
Good job, IDF. Well done. We saw this.
Here we go. Well, no, I was going to say there's other ones of her talking. So
President Kamala Harris is calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza in order to release more hostages and get more aid to Palestinian civilians. Harris is set to meet today with a member of Israel's war cabinet, where she's expected to push for more U.S. aid into Gaza by both air and sea.
Yeah, I'm
U.S.
sure that's all they
military
talked
cargo
about.
planes dropped food and pallets over the area Saturday. A 6-week ceasefire is currently being worked out in Egypt.
I hope
Israel
I
is
hope
not
this is
attending
like them projecting, like we are about to do a coup if you don't fuck off.
these negotiations. According to Israel media, the country is
I've never
demanding
wanted
Hamas
the U.S.
turn
to
over
do
a
a
full
coup so badly.
list of living hostages before any ceasefire deal moves forward.
They said they want to release all living hostages, right? And Hamas won't tell them what hostages are alive or dead.
Yeah.
That's smart on Hamas's part.
It is. It is.
I'm hoping so. We're still working real hard at it. Not there yet.
What is the biggest holdup right now?
I'm not going to tell you that because that would get involved in the negotiation.
Are you confident you can get a ceasefire by Monday?
No, I was just saying. It looks like it's not there yet.
President
And
Biden?
I think we'll get there, but it's not there yet. And it may not get there now.
Do you think there may never be a ceasefire negotiation?
I'm still hoping for it. It's not over till it's over.
What needs to happen in negotiation?
Well, there has to be an agreement on the timing, and they're still far apart.
He's like, that's a dumb fucking question.
No, so he was saying the timing. They're too
Yeah.
far apart. So he's talking about the 6 weeks. That's what's holding it up, is how long
Yeah,
it's going
yeah.
to be.
Want to get you to some news this morning. New details on the Israel and Hamas war. Discussions set to pick back up today on a potential ceasefire in Gaza. And this comes after a senior U.S. official says Israel has agreed to a proposed ceasefire and hostage release deal. However, Hamas has yet to agree. The proposal includes a 6-week halt to fighting with Hamas, releasing hostages who are considered vulnerable. That includes those who are sick, injured, and the elderly as well.
So
President Biden believes a deal would be a big step to getting much-needed aid into the region.
He tends to be very mask off with shit.
Aid flowing to Gaza is nowhere nearly enough.
Right
now, it's nowhere nearly enough.
If we take Biden at his word, because he tends to be mask off, especially when when they get him at the helicopter, that's when he has the most energy. Look, he's falling asleep right now, right? So that would imply, that type of thing.
Innocent lives are on the line, and children's lives are on the line.
Now, those ceasefire discussions set to take place today in Cairo. Vice President Kamala Harris also set to meet with members of the Israeli War Cabinet on Monday.
Today, Vice President Kamala Harris will be meeting with Israeli opposition leader in war
cabinet to coup them, or is she meeting with the War Cabinet to pressure a longer than 6 weeks ceasefire?
Theoretically, could be either of them.
Time cabinet member Benny Gantz at the White House. The vice president issued the harshest comments from a senior Biden administration official on Sunday when she called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The talks come 2 days after the U.S. military airdropped its first wave of vital humanitarian aid into Gaza. Let's bring in CBS News chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. Nancy, this is a meeting.
Sorry. He probably would have won in 2016 over Hillary, but Hillary was the establishment queen, even though Joe Biden was more worthy. And they Benghazi'd her to death. He would have been so good over her instead of going for somebody who was already. And then the emails came out. Like, come on. But also the thing with me. As far as the president goes, I want to hear less from them. Shut the fuck up. Just show me what you're doing. Okay? That's all I want from you. Show me what you're doing. You can say something on the way to the helicopter, maybe when you're eating an ice cream cone.
That Prime Minister Netanyahu does not want to happen. What is the vice president hoping to achieve with it? What are the talks around there?
That's right. It's going to be such an interesting meeting to watch, Liliana, for that reason, because, you've got the vice president basically rolling out the red carpet. You've got the national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, meeting with Benny Gantz as well. And this is a meeting, as you pointed out, Lilia, that the prime minister did not want Gantz to have. Gantz is a member of the War Cabinet, but he's part of this unity party that was formed in the wake of the Hamas invasion on October 7th. And so he's not in Netanyahu's party. He's more of a centrist, and that centrist party has been gaining in popularity. And Netanyahu reportedly told him, don't go.
Well. Like on their spectrum. That's
we have one prime.
That means he definitely doesn't support a Palestinian state.
Minister at a time. I don't want you going to the White House because Gantz has a bit of a different view when it comes to communicating with the leaders in Gaza than Netanyahu did. But really, Gantz just informed him, I'm going, and has made his way here to Washington, where he will sit down with the vice president in a few hours. We're told that the vice president wants to talk to him about limiting Gaza casualties, if at all possible, and also how to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza. And she'll also express her concern about the 1.5 million people who are trapped essentially in Rafah, who could be in harm's way if the Israelis do mount a full-scale ground invasion to try to eliminate the remnants of Hamas.
And Nancy, just realistically speaking, how much impact can this visit have on a potential ceasefire, on stopping Israel's aggressive push into Rafah?
Right. Well, it could have an impact on
What a dumb
domestic
question. Come
politics
on, we don't
within
know that.
Israel, right?
What could it do
You've
this or
got
that?
Gantz's
Okay, it's
party
all
has been
speculation,
ascendant.
all right?
He's the one sitting down with a White House that has become increasingly critical of the Israeli
Yeah,
government. You
they
saw
said
that on
over the
full
line
display
and
just
then
this weekend from the
they
vice
called for
president
a ceasefire. Crazy.
herself. And so if he appears to be more in line with the White House than the prime
Then
minister
we're gonna
of
do a coup.
Israel
We're
is,
gonna coup
then
him.
that
We're gonna go
puts
in there. It's just gonna
Netanyahu
drag him
in
right out. It's a
in
classic
difficult
operation.
position
We do it all the time.
domestically. And so that's why that's part of the reason he didn't want Gantz to go, and that's part of the reason we'll be watching this meeting so closely.
Nancy Cordes, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Lilia.
And now to follow up on exactly the point Nancy was making, I want to bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tayeb. He is in Tel Aviv. So Imtiaz, how are people in Israel and how are Palestinians in Gaza receiving the vice president's call for immediate ceasefire and also this visit from Benny Gantz to the White House?
Well, Lilia, I'll start with Gaza. The people in Gaza, of course, desperate for a ceasefire, an immediate ceasefire. They want the fighting to stop now. In fact, we've been hearing from the mother of twin.
That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know why people can't get this through their fucking heads. Like, it's not your place. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's literally like it matters what Hamas wants. And Hamas isn't going to tell this guy shit. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Tonight, the Biden administration's sharpest criticism yet of Israel's handling of its war with Hamas.
What we are seeing every day in Gaza is devastating.
I want to make the case against voting as the strongest strategy.
This
that
is
the
a little
left
break
currently
thing
has
in
made.
here.
Now, the obvious objection from here is that this is done at the risk of letting Trump win.
Yeah.
And there is no way around this.
The problem is that if Trump wins, that might be the last election. Do people not understand how scary that is? We know that he's already tried to subvert the democratic system. We know that he would try again. Unless you want to subvert democracy, you can't just bulldoze them with your perfect
also
world.
just the last headline we didn't do. It just says that Hamas sent a delegation to Cairo, and Israel has not 10 hours ago. But also there's delegations in multiple locations as well. It's Egypt and Israel have their own beef going on right now, so it might be something that Israel wants to settle separately with Cairo.
Yeah.
So.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?